This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, JM Ryerson.
What's happening, you guys? Welcome back to the Let's Go Win podcast, where we are here to help you be happy, healthy, wealthy, and get better every single day. We're going to tackle a subject today that we have never done on the show, and I am fired up because it is definitely dealing with the brain. We are talking about hypnosis, and we have an absolute expert. Dom the Hypnotist specializes in helping people get rid of anxiety, depression, and limiting beliefs. He's been able to help hundreds of people change their lives through hypnosis and has worked with some of the top athletes in the NFL, UFC, and Olympic athletes from all over the world. Dom also helps people advance their careers and business performances with hypnosis. Brother, welcome to the show. How are we doing?
Oh, fantastic, man. I get to talk about my favorite subject, so I'm excited to be here.
And this is not a subject that, like I said, I've never talked about on the show. I'm not really familiar with it. Neuropsychology, brain interests me. And I'm not, maybe I'm reaching, but I'm guessing, looking at the sign that you have behind you, we're going to be talking about some brain stuff. This hypnosis, somehow, I don't know how it works. So I'm excited to hear A, how you got into it, B, how it works. And I guess I'll start there, brother. How did you get into this world?
Yeah, so, from the ages of 18 to about 30, I sold life insurance. And for the first couple of years, I was gung-ho. I was excited about it. It was like I was really passionate about it. And then about 5 years into it, I just lost my steam with it. So I took a sabbatical from that for a little while, tried a couple of different things, failed, tried a solar business, didn't go good, and different things, and then finally got back into insurance. And so the last 2 years I was in insurance, I would drive around every single day just hating my life. Like many people hate their jobs. That was me. And as I would drive around, I would just be thinking, like, man, I'm meant for more than this. And there's got to be something else out there that I can actually enjoy doing. But I just felt trapped. I was making decent money, or at the time it seemed like decent money. And so I was just in this, like, damn, I can't leave because I got to have the money, but then I want to leave, but I just stuck. So, in the Christmas of 2018, my mom actually surprised me with a Christmas gift to go to a hypnosis course. So it was like a 2.5-day introductory course. She went to an NLP and hypnosis course the previous months before, and she was all excited about it. So she bought me as a gift. So I went to the course. I had zero expectation that I was going to do this for a living. I was just going to, maybe clear out some of my own blocks or whatever, and maybe learn a party trick or something. So I went to the course, and in the 2.5 days that I was there, I changed so much as a person. I just, on Monday, by the time I got out, I knew I was different. I could feel it in my body. Something had shifted. And so I felt so good. And I just said, you know what? This is the thing that I've been searching for. You know what I mean? Like when I would drive around in my car thinking like, what is the next thing? What am I supposed to be doing? I knew this was it. So I made a claim, and I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I made a goal that 6 months or sooner that I would be transitioning over full time from doing insurance to doing hypnosis. So 6 months or sooner, that was within my timeline. So I go out the first week, and because I don't know what the hell I'm doing, I just went to a 2.5-day course. I just start offering my services for free. So I start posting on Instagram and Facebook, hey, if anybody wants to be hypnotized, I'll do it for free. So within the first week, I worked with about 45 people, and suddenly my confidence grew, right? Because now it wasn't just the people in the training. Now actually I had real life experience. So within that first week, my goal went from 6 months down to 3 months. And the next week I went out and I worked with another 55 people or so. And so within that 2 weeks, I had worked with over 100 people, and it was 2 weeks to the day. I woke up one day, I had 10 appointments to sell insurance, and I just could not physically get my body to go to work. And so I messaged my assistant and I said, hey, tell everybody I'm not coming in today. And I said, that's it. I'm never selling another insurance policy ever again in my life. And then that was it. That was the last day I ever sold insurance. And here we are 4.5 years later. And I have a team of therapists that work for me, and building out a company. It's not just me anymore. So it's been great.
Dude, the activity that you did coming off this, there's so much to get into on this. I absolutely love it. So I came from the insurance and financial service world. If he had done the 45 and 55 appointments like this all the time, his life insurance numbers would be insane. I say that to say, what an amazing way to put yourself out there. You found something you're interested in, and now you're like passionate about it. And obviously people are interested in it. 100 people in 2 weeks, that is busy. And you were trying to do a full-time job. I just didn't want people to lose sight of that. That is amazing. Tell me about the first 45, brother, because again, I think so often people get hung up, as you probably were coming off the Monday, imposter syndrome, all the self-limiting beliefs that are going along with it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to be bringing value, when the truth is clearly you sent something out, even if it's free, there was transformations that had to be happening because you had even more people the next week. Talk to me about that initial week, because I think there's so much to get into right there.
Yeah. So one of the things that you learn first when you're doing hypnosis is how to do what's called convincers. So convincers are you put somebody into a light state of hypnosis and you get them to do something that convinces them that they're in hypnosis, where they can say, oh shit, yeah, I was hypnotized. So one of the ways you could do that is you do something called magnetic fingers, right? Where you essentially have somebody to where their fingers get really tight and close, and then they try to open them and they won't, and they try and their fingers are stuck together, right? So I practiced that and other techniques over and over and over again with many different people. And every time I would do it, I'm like, oh, this is the time it's not going to work. This is the time it's not going to work. This is the time. And still to this day, it's worked every single time. And I've done it with, I don't know, a couple thousand people. So that was one of the main things I did. And then the fact that I was offering it for free, people were open to it. So it was an easy sell. And that was it. And, a lot of the people that I originally worked with were people that I knew, my friends, even my family members, just people that I had already knew for a little while. So they were a little bit more open and open to it. And yeah, man, I just took massive action. I was used to taking massive action because of insurance. I'd run 12, 15 appointments a day sometimes. And so to me, it was just like, all right, yeah, this is what we do. We have something we want to do, and we just go and we just put it out there. So, yeah, that's basically how I ran it.
Well, I just love the acceleration to go, look, I'm going to do this full time in 6 months. Within 2 weeks, because of taking massive action, I'm done. This is my career. And clearly, one of the topics I want to talk about is getting people bought into their vision. You had a vision, and it just accelerated so quickly to where you went from doubting, well, maybe this is something I could do. This is cool. 6 months. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, or at least for the foreseeable future.
Right.
Like, to find that purpose. I think so many people are looking for that. What is it about hypnosis that allowed you to get there? And I'll just start there. There's one question. How does hypnosis do this, brother? What is the workings of the brain that you're able to get people to stop being anxious, depressed, self-limiting beliefs? Because look, man, this isn't mainstream. This isn't out there everywhere. At least I'm not familiar with it. So, but it's an amazing gift that you're giving people.
Yeah. So there's a couple things. One is everybody's walking around with a lot of unresolved things in their mind. And what these unresolved things are just memories of experiences they've had in their lives that they foresaw at the time that were bad, right? That were negative, whether it's their parents divorcing, breakups, businesses failing or whatever. And what happens is whenever these events transpire and we don't learn from them and we just hold on to it and go, oh, this was bad because of this, and oh, this sucked because of that, those memories will linger in our mind and they begin to shape our reality, right? So if your parents were divorced and you grew up with a single mother, you might believe like, hey, marriage is terrible and relationships suck. So you go your whole life with paradigm of like relationships suck, relationships suck, relationships suck. Well, if that's your belief, that's what you're going to get, right? Or on the financial side, if you grew up in poverty and you have all these limiting beliefs about money is bad and money's hard to make and whatever the case may be, that now becomes your filter. And so the way I explain limiting beliefs are like this. Imagine you're looking through a camera, right? And you're looking through the lens. You can only see what's through that lens. Now, that doesn't mean that everything else around the camera doesn't exist. It's all there. It's just that your lens is limited. So once you open up the lens, suddenly you can see things that were always there. And that's what limiting beliefs are. They're filters in your mind that hold you back from seeing the possibilities. So as you remove these layers of these limitations, you begin to see more and more possibilities that were always there in the first place. So that's what we do at a subconscious level, is help people remove those filters and those limiting beliefs.
Yeah, two things came to mind as you're talking. The two quotes: what you focus on expands, and whether you think you can or can't, you're right. To me, that's what you're saying is like, look, man, if you believe it's going to be negative shit and life sucks, this is what's going to be coming your way, because that's all you're seeing is the negativity. And what is it about hypnosis that allows you to break away from that? Because I can say that all day long, brother. I do it with I coach clients all the time, but the patterns bring people back often because of some experience as a child. I'm always going to be in a shitty relationship because my parents got divorced when I was 5 years old. That story. What is it about hypnosis that allows, and I'm going to say trick, but that's not the proper terminology, that the shift, there you go, the pattern interrupt. What is it doing? Maybe neural patterns. What's happening there, brother?
Yeah, so this is the number one thing that you have to do always before you do any type of work or even coaching or anything, is you have to get permission from the subconscious mind to make the shift. So I've talked to thousands of people over the years where they're like, "Oh my God, I've been in therapy for years and nothing worked." And I say, did your therapist ever ask your subconscious mind if it's okay to let go of whatever, your anxiety or whatever? And still to this day, I've never had anybody say, "Yeah, they did ask me that." And so what happens is, people at a conscious, logical level, they want to make changes. They want to do better in their life and their relationships, get in shape, and blah, blah, blah. But at a subconscious level, there's something still there, what we call secondary gain, as to why the subconscious mind wants to hold on to their anger, to their anxiety, to their sadness, to their whatever. So you have to speak directly to the subconscious mind and figure out, hey, why do you want to hold on to this? And then shift from that. And then once you do that, it'll go away. So I'll give you an example. Yesterday or the day before, I did a live on my Instagram. And I said, hey, if anybody has pain, you can come on live and I'll help you heal it. We'll do it right now. So brought some guy on, and he's had pain for like 7 or 8 years. He's had surgeries and blah, 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 the whole thing. Nothing's working. So I said, okay, close your eyes. Ask yourself, hey, is it okay to let go of my pain? And his subconscious mind said no. And I said, oh, okay, cool. Why do you want to hold on to your pain? Now, he doesn't know this at a conscious level, but at a subconscious level, his subconscious mind said it's a good way for him to get attention. And also it's a good excuse for him to hold himself back from having to do the work to level up. So in other words, by him saying, oh, my pain, he gets attention from his friends and family. And it makes him go, well, I want to start this business or I want to do this thing, but I got my pain, so therefore I can't. So it's a reason for him to accept failure. So once we shifted that and made him realize, wait, this isn't actually serving me, boom, the pain instantly goes away. Again, that he's had for 7 years, he's had surgeries and doctors and this and that, because we got that shift. So that's the first thing you always have to do before you're doing any type of change work, is get 100% agreement.
So fascinating, because talking to your subconscious, you have your conscious, subconscious, super conscious. Like, I don't think anybody here would go, well, obviously, Dom, I don't want the pain, but who would think to say, hey, subconscious, is it cool if I get rid of this? It's just not common knowledge. This isn't something that's out there unless you're really in I'm a geek when it comes to this stuff. So I love this stuff. This is awesome. But to think, you know what, let me talk to the subconscious. Let me get in there and ask permission. That literally is untethering whatever connections they have, saying, look, you're doing this because you're getting this attention. It's absolutely fascinating. So you said that was step one. What would it look like to go to step two? Because literally, when you're talking hypnosis, I have the visual that many people do. The guy with the clock going back and forth, like that's
Yeah.
what I think of, right? That's immediately what I think of, and I'm sure that's what has been Hollywoodized, and maybe that's a technique that they use, but that's about all I know.
Yeah.
So step one is you go in, ask for permission, but you didn't swing a clock. So what
No.
does that look like, brother? Is this just bad Hollywoodized
That's
versions of?
yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like they make it seem like the hypnotist has mind control over people. That's all bullshit. If that was the case, I could just go hypnotize somebody, go rob a bank, and go do whatever. That's just not the case. It's actually, I think in like the 1970s, this gentleman tried to claim that he was hypnotized to commit a murder. And they ruled it. There's a law that says you can't use, "Hey, I was hypnotized" as an excuse to commit a crime. What people see in movies or even in real life, if you've ever been to a stage show, is the hypnotist brings like 40, 50 people on stage. He hypnotizes everybody. A lot of people don't, they don't get that deep. And then they end up with like 8, 9, or 10 people. And then those 8, 9, or 10 people, they make them do a bunch of funny things and, whatever. So what's happening there is that those 8 to 10 people are just more suggestible in that moment. It doesn't mean forever. It just means that right then and there, they're like, "Hey, I want to go up on stage. I want to do this." And so they're more open to that experience. So if somebody goes up and they go, "I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this," it's not going to work. But if you go up like, "Hey, I want to have this experience. I want to have fun," your mind will open up to it. So it's not that the hypnotist has control. It's just that he's putting you in a relaxed state where you're more open to do it. So the analogy I always give to people is like, guys, when we're younger, we go to like a nightclub or something and we want to go dance, but we're afraid to. So we just sit in the back and we're just like sitting against the wall. And we're looking at all the cute girls. We're like, oh, fantasizing. But then what happens? We have a couple drinks and we start feeling a little bit better, start opening up a little bit. And then next thing you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 drinks later, we're the life of the party. We're on the dance floor. Everybody's surrounding us, right? So hypnosis does a similar thing where you want to do it, but you're afraid to. So you put yourself in a relaxed state where you're more open to do it. Now, the second step is figuring out, where did this start? So, I had another woman the other day, speaking of the pain stuff. These are just things at the top of mind. So she comes on and she's had pain for 20 plus years. I think it was 25 years. She's 40 years old. She's had pain since she was 15. And we go into, she was cool with letting it go, but she didn't know why she was holding on to it. So I say, okay, subconscious mind, where did this start? Was it something that happened before your birth, like a genetic memory that was passed down? Was it something that happened during your mom's pregnancy? Or was it something that happened after your birth? And she said, oh, it happened after. And I said, okay, what's going on? And then she starts bursting into tears and she goes, I feel guilty for being alive. I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, when I was born, my parents were in they had such hardship that I felt guilty for even being born. So I'm punishing myself for being born by having this pain. And then again, in a matter of minutes, boom, the pain goes away and she's crying, and the whole thing. And I did this on Instagram Live. I never met the girl in my life. So that's the next step, is finding out, where did it start? Now, I said something there that many people are skeptical about, and I used to be skeptical about as well, is genetic memories. So when our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, when they go through things, those memories get passed down through our DNA. So just like you have your mom's eyes, your grandpa's ears, and your dad's nose, well, you also get their memories. So many times we're living out unconsciously things that our ancestors went through that we don't even realize is happening. So through the process of hypnosis, you can tap into those memories and let them go.
Yeah, dude, it's I'm trying to figure out how to ask this next one, because you're putting yourself out there live on these Instagrams. And if somebody doesn't really have an open mind, they're not really open to it, is it gonna it'll shut down? And I guess maybe that's the question. Have you had that where any coach, whether it's hypnosis or just working through some of these things, to your point, if you're not open to change, if you're not open to, like my latest book, upgrading, which is really what I think you're doing for these people, you're upgrading their lives. You're not making it, you're not a bad person, but let's change this pain. Let's get rid of this. Have you had that where people have just absolutely shut down and they get zero from it?
Yeah. So I don't work with people unless they're open to it. And in that scenario, when I go live and everything, these people, I know that they're open to it because they're in pain, right? They're not trying to test me like, oh, let me see if this works. I don't believe it. Like, if people say that, cool, bro. I don't got time for you. I charge a lot of fucking money to do this. So I'm blessing you with a gift right now. So please take it. But these people are in pain. So they want to do it. Like, they're like, Dom, please. Honestly, I could probably snap my fingers and say your pain is gone, and it would be gone because they want it so bad that anything will work at that moment. But I don't work with people unless they're open. So I don't try to prove to people that I can do this. And I'm way past that in my career now. By the time somebody gets to work with me, they've already paid, they've already went through a process with my team. So I don't really get that anymore. Now, what I will say is, if you are having trouble with the client, I never blame the client. And I always take responsibility for communication, because if I start blaming the client, like, oh, this person's, they're hard to deal with, or they're this, or they're that, I'm blaming them as to why my communication sucks. So what I always do is, if somebody's a little harder to work with, is I say, okay, Dom, what am I saying or what am I not saying that's causing this reaction in the client? And what can I do differently to get a more favorable response? And when you take that position, the words seem to come to you, and then you can kind of smooth out the little rough patches with people. So, but yeah, at this point, I don't ever get people that it doesn't work for, that they're resistant. Now, I will get people that are really open to it, and then when we talk to their subconscious mind is like, no, I don't want to let this go. Right. And that's part of the process. And that's normal. That happens with almost every single person I work with. And that's just a process of reframing it, getting them to realize, like, hey, I do want to let this go, and then let it go. So,
well, that's one of the things that's fascinating to me is let's take somebody that's had pain for, like you said, 25 years. So more than half their life, they've held on to this thought, this belief, subconsciously, not consciously. Nobody wants to be in pain at a conscious level, but subconsciously they're hanging on. That is some serious work to get rid of, and to do it in that manner where it's like, all right, you give it permission to let go and whatever. I'm sure there's a lot more to it. Does it come back, Dom? Do you have customers where it's like, man, I was able to get rid of it with you when in your presence, and it stayed, but then it came back? Because just like any old habits or patterns or beliefs, they sure can creep back in real fast.
Yeah. Great question. So occasionally it does. And here's the good news, is that there's a technique that they can do on their own without me, that if it does come back, they do the technique in their head, and then it goes away. So the technique is essentially this. Anybody watching, you can do this. Consult your doctor first. But let me just throw in that disclaimer. I'm not a medical doctor, okay? But so here's what happens. Here's why people have pain, and in any illness for this matter, is something happened to them in their lives. It could be one event, a series of events, a significant emotional event is what we call it. And they started feeling bad, right? They feel angry, sad, guilty, anxiety, whatever. And then that was it. Well, then time went by and they never resolved it. And they kept feeling the anxiety or whatever it was around it. And because they ignored it, suddenly that anxiety starts to turn into physical discomfort. And then they ignore it because they don't know what to do. They're ignorant to how to handle it. So then the discomfort now turns into pain. And then the pain, if they let it go long enough, that's how people end up with arthritis and, cancers and all these different things. It's an emotional thing. So think of it like the check engine light in your car, right? Your oil light comes on, you ignore it. Well, something else is going to break, and you ignore that, something else is going to break. Before you know it, your car's totaled. So the way that we address that is when we start to feel the physical pain, the check engine lights coming on, we simply close our eyes and we just say what emotion that we're feeling in the moment over and over and over and over until it goes to zero. So it would literally be like this. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling hurt. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm feeling anxiety. Feeling anxiety. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling guilt. I'm feeling guilt. I'm feeling sad. And the person just repeats it over and over and over and over and over until the pain goes to zero, and then it's gone. Now, typically what will happen is we'll go through, we'll clear it. If it does come back, they fire off the technique. It goes away. Maybe it comes back again. It goes away. And then once they're in tune, it just doesn't come back. Now, does that mean they'll never feel pain anywhere else in their body? They can never have another issue? No, they can if they're not conscious of what's going on. But for people that I've done pain with, I've never had anybody, unless it was an injury, like, oh, I just broke my leg. Okay, that's not going to work. But if it's something that's emotional, I've never had one person that wasn't able to get rid of their pain. So
yeah, it's interesting because it's not evading or like you're actually saying the exact thing, right? It's
yeah,
not like, hey, there's a trigger to take you away. You're actually
right.
saying the trigger is to continue to repeat it until you have literally brought it, I guess, to the conscious mind to
Yep,
where now
yep.
it's like, okay, now it's faded
They go,
away.
hey, you got the message. No need to. So I'll give you an example. When I go to jiu-jitsu, sometimes I'll come out, I'm perfectly fine, everything's good. As soon as I sit in my car, it feels like somebody just stabbed me in the forehead with a knife. And I just get the crazy like headache migraine. And I know, I already know, I'm like, oh, I'm frustrated. So-and-so fucking choked me out, damn it. And as soon as I go, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling frustrated. 10 seconds later, it's gone. So, yeah, once people just acknowledge it, hey, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling this, the subconscious mind goes, okay, cool, got the message, no need to hold on to the pain anymore, and then boom, it goes away.
That's absolutely fascinating. I want to get your take on mantras, repeating to the subconscious, to the conscious mind to say, I am such and such. I'm a huge fan of it, but I'm
Mhm.
curious with your knowledge of the brain, how effective are you seeing that to work? Because you're clearly you're breaking the pattern of what was happening, rewiring for the self-limiting beliefs, the pain. Awesome. Is there things that people could be doing to, not that we don't want to see you, but so that we don't get
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that place?
yeah,
What are
no,
your
that's
thoughts
fine.
on it?
Yeah, so, and by the way, I don't even really do pain stuff that often, just because for me it's so quick and easy. I'll just hop on and do it for free for somebody. I'm like, 5 minutes, here you go, see ya. But uh, I'll tell you a very interesting story, and many people that hear this are not going to believe it, and that's okay because it is what it is. I have proof of hundreds and hundreds of people who've had this experience. But in the NFL season of 2021, I've been working with a client before the season started, and we're going through clearing out all his limiting beliefs, blah blah blah, whatever. Well, he was a third or fourth stringer at the time. And then about halfway through the season, because of the work he was doing, plus the mental stuff we were doing, he was doing better in practice, and he finally got his first start. So, we got together on a Wednesday before the game Sunday, and he's like, Dom, fucking, I'm excited. I got my first start, but I'm super nervous. So if there's anything that you haven't done yet, like if there's any tricks up your sleeve, now's the time to do it, right? Because this is my first start. I got to make sure I'm doing good. So I said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the plays of the other team, because you're in NFL, you got to learn the playbook of the other team so you can adjust your game plan. And I said, I'm gonna put it in a hypnosis recording, and I want you to loop it throughout the night, just 8 hours a night, just over and over and over, listening to the plays. Now, what's funny is at the time, I never even believed in sleep hypnosis because I was just like, you're sleeping, you're unconscious. Like, how is this actually going to work? You're not hearing it, or consciously anyways. But I figured it wasn't gonna hurt. So I made the recording, had him listen to it Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. He goes out and plays. And then he texts me after the game and he goes, Dom, I've never been more in tune with what the other team was going to do. And he said, it's like, I knew what they were going to do before they did it. So first of all, I was relieved because like, oh shit, thank God it worked. But second of all, it got my mind thinking like, okay, maybe there's something to this whole sleep hypnosis thing. So a couple months later, one night I was like, you know what, I'm gonna listen to sleep hypnosis around creating abundance financially. So I went on YouTube and I found this video, had millions of views. had thousands of comments, and I went through the comments, and there's just comment after comment after comment. Oh my God, I started listening to this and I made $10,000 this week. Oh, I made $2,000. Oh, I made $500. I got a raise, and just hundreds of comments. And at first I thought this has to be bots. This can't be real. But I would click on the profile, and it's like real, actual YouTube people. So anyways, I started listening to it on a Tuesday, and by Sunday we had our biggest week ever at the time by about 50%. So this was great, right? 50% more money. Great. The problem was, though, is that 50%, I didn't have a big team like I do now. It was just me and one other person. So 50% more clients also means 50% more work, right? So, and I was already tapped out as it is. So I actually stopped listening to it because it was too powerful, because I couldn't keep up with that run rate at the time. So boom, I stopped listening to it, whatever. Well, then a few months go by, and I had the thought, I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just create my own sleep hypnosis? I'm a hypnotist. I know how to do it. I just got to figure out the technology to how to make it 8 hours or whatever. So I said, when I create it, though, I'm going to make it so where it's more passive, not necessarily passive income. Like I don't do anything and I just get money. Yeah, that too. But also more of like opportunities come to me passively. I can make more money working the same or even less. That was the mindset around it. Not just, hey, a bunch of money, but also a bunch of work. So anyways, I create the sleep hypnosis. I put it out on my YouTube, my Instagram. I give it to a bunch of clients that I had at the time. And within a couple of days, people are like, dude, deals are closing. My appointments are booking up. Like things are going great. Right. And then I had other people that said that the file was corrupted and they couldn't understand it. Right. So I'm like, okay, maybe I've screwed something up on the editing process or whatever. So a few months later, I had the thought of, hey, I'm going to start giving this to all our new, because we primarily work with business owners and salespeople. So business owners and salespeople, they all want to make more money, right? So part of the homework is, hey, you sign up, you do sessions with me or somebody on my team. You're also going to listen to the sleep hypnosis for however long. So we start giving it to all these people, and same thing, people are like, oh my God, I'm making more money, blah, blah, blah. Well, then one day, one of my clients messaged me and she goes, Dom, I think something's wrong with the recording. And I said, what's going on? And she goes, well, the first 3 or 4 days, I could hear it perfectly clear, but now it sounds like it's in a different language. And so I said, okay, I've heard this before, screen record it, send it to me or whatever. So she screen records it, sends it to me. I play it, nothing wrong. I can hear it perfectly fine. Right. So then about an hour goes by and she goes, oh my God, Dom, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? And she goes, I showed your recording to my partner. We're in the same exact room. We're listening to the same exact thing, and she can hear it perfectly fine, but I can't understand a word. She said, it sounds like it's Latin or it's in a different language. So I'm thinking like, what the fuck, like, what the hell's going on here? What's happening? So I said, okay, let's talk about it in our next session. So I do all my work on Zoom. I don't do any in person. So we jump on Zoom and I got to see it for myself. So I share my screen and I hit the recording. And sure enough, I can hear it as clear as you can hear me right now. And she can't understand a word. She can read the captions on the screen, but it's not processing auditorily. So I just went with intuitively what I thought was going on. And in my head, I'm like, okay, her brain is blocking her from hearing this recording about creating success. So she must have some fears around what the recording is saying. So her brain's just tuning it out. So what we did was we went through the affirmation. So the affirmation is this: large sums of passive money come to me easily and quickly from multiple sources on a consistent basis, and it's in the best good of all. I can keep, save, invest, spend the money, or give the money away. Whatever I decide to do, I could do it happily. So we go through each little part, right? Large sums of passive money. Why won't your mind, we're asking her in hypnosis, subconscious mind, why won't you let me hear this part? And she's like, oh, I'm afraid that I won't be able to handle large amounts of money at once. Okay, cool. The next part is easily and quickly. She's like, I believe that I have to work hard for everything and things can't come easy, right? And then it's multiple sources. I can't handle multiple sources. I'm too overwhelmed. Then it's like, the rest of it. Oh, and then the last one is happily. She's like, I believe. Oh, the other thing was she was afraid that when she became really successful, her friends and family would envy her and be jealous of her. And then she would lose her relationships. And she was also afraid that she'd be, cocky and arrogant, and then everybody would dislike her. So long story short, we go through one by one and we clear all these beliefs at a subconscious level, all the fears and everything. 45 minutes later, I hit the record or I hit the play button and boom, she can hear it again. And it sounds perfect. Now that's crazy. It gets even crazier. So I have a group that I do like every Monday, 50, 60 people jump on. I'll hypnotize them. We'll talk about different subjects, whatever. So I told my group about this. I'm like, hey, this crazy phenomenon just happened. You know, what's going on? And a couple other people are like, oh man, I was having the same thing. I thought the recording was just broken or whatever. So, you know, the same thing. I jump on a call with people. We go through, clear it out, same exact thing. Well, a few weeks after that, I had everybody create their own affirmation on an app where you just say like, hey, whatever you want. Like I'm in great shape and I love my life, whatever, it doesn't matter. So people are creating their own affirmations, their own words, their own voice, everything. And they create on the app, they start listening to it. And within a few days, they couldn't understand their own words. Now, this goes even deeper. That's second level of crazy. This is the third level or the first level, I guess, the highest level. This was maybe like 3 months ago. I was doing a talk with my group and I was talking about how it's important for us to let go of our resentments and, you know, things that we hold on to so that we could be at peace and blah, 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 whatever. And, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm telling a story about one of my buddies that passed away and how 8 months prior we got in an argument or something stupid and we didn't talk. And then finally he was in the wrong and he opened up and we became friends again. And then he died after that. But, I told this whole story, blah, blah, blah. And then that same week I had a call with the client and I jump on and she goes, oh my God, Dom, I got to tell you something. I said, what? And she goes, while you were telling that story, she goes, I could hear you. Everything was fine. And she goes, as soon as you told the part where you picked up the phone and my buddy told me that my other buddy passed away, she goes, for the next 20 minutes, I couldn't understand a word you were saying. She's like, it sounds like you were underwater and you were speaking. She goes, not only that, at the beginning of the call, my phone was at 100%. And she goes, about 20 minutes in or after I was talking, she goes, I passed out. I woke up, my phone was completely drained. And she's like, you know, she just, she had this weird experience. So I say all that because going back to those limiting beliefs, right? If we have these filters and these fears in our mind, it doesn't matter how hard you work. I used to work my fucking ass off. From 18 to 30, I was a grinder. Like I would work 90 days in a row, 16 hours a day. No joke. But I never got anywhere because I had all these limitations. And once you remove those limitations, it's like this. You got a governor in a car. Cool. You could push the gas pedal as hard as you want. It ain't going any faster. And it's the same thing with the governors in our mind. You can work 80 hours a week, but if you have these limitations about success and all these things, your car's not going to go any faster. So what we do is just go in, remove the governor so that you can actually fulfill your fullest potential. So that's what I'll say about affirmations.
Brother, that's deep. That is absolutely remarkable. And there's so many things to the sleep hypnosis. If people, you know, it's funny because people will want to believe or not believe. And to your point, I don't care either because I believe in what I've seen work and I've seen remarkable things. And the brain waves that you're actually getting to as you're going to sleep, as you are sleeping, because now your body is asleep, but yet now you're subconscious. And it's actually, there's a lot of scientific stuff behind this. And that's what I want people to realize. Like, look, that's why people meditate to get into these brain waves. And I'm not an expert, so I can't even speak to exactly which ones. You have delta, gamma, you have these different brain waves, theta, that you're looking to get into. And there's so much scientific things that they've shown to do that. Gosh, man, you were fascinating. So you're expanding now. Talk to me. How's that going, brother? Congrats on that. That's awesome because I love watching people give other people opportunities. Now you're just going to create more opportunities, help more people. So congrats on that. How's that going for you, man?
Good. And one thing I was going to mention is as of now, I'm thinking about pulling it down soon, but as of now, if anybody wants to test out the app or the sleep hypnosis I just mentioned, if you go onto your app store and you just type in Dom the Hypnotist, you download the app, you create an account, you can listen to the sleep hypnosis for free, and you can have your own experience, right? And so it's going great, man. We just did our first live event here in Vegas at the Circle Hotel. We had like 104 or 5 people there. And it was amazing. We did, talked about different things. I had a comedian come in, Brian Callen. I had another gentleman who one of my close friends. He's a ESPY award winner. He's a football coach. He's Coach Rob. He's a quadriplegic. He's born no arms and legs. And so, and we did hypnosis every day. We talked about the subconscious mind. I performed some stuff on stage with people of healings and different things and everything. So it was amazing, and I'm actually now to the point where I'm not really I haven't taken on a new one-on-one client in probably 2 months now, maybe a little longer, just because I'm I had the live event, plus I have my team and everything. So now it's to the point where I'm a speaker, and I'm putting on these live events. So when people come into our process, they get one-on-ones with like another hypnotherapist or whatever. They also get, again, the live event. We kind of make it a whole thing where they can get a breakthrough at all different stages. Right. So, just having one-on-ones is good, but also having like a live event or the sleep hypnosis or weekly calls, it just adds more to it. So you get more out of it. Right. So it's going great. We've got about, 13, 14 people on the team, and we're expanding now. And I don't know, I've thought about, because we did so well at our live event, I'm like, I don't know if I even want to expand with more hypnotherapists, or if I just want to kind of keep it like how it is and just do more bigger live events and do it that way. So yeah, man, it's going great. We'll see what happens with like COVID and all that. So now when we sign people up, like there's a disclaimer, right? Hey, look, we might have to do it virtually, or we'll rent a warehouse somewhere if we have to, or whatever, because they're trying to like shut everything down again, supposedly, or whatever. I don't think people are going to go for it, but who knows? Definitely not in Florida, but
no, we're cool here, man. Come to Florida. Nobody worries about that stuff. In fact, whatever fears people are having about it, let's go ahead and just deal with it. Dom will take care of it.
There we go.
Yeah, man. Brother, this is fascinating. I literally, again, this is stuff I'm interested in. I literally was reading about not hypnosis specifically, but solfeggio frequencies and brain waves. And this is just stuff that I think if people are open to it, if somebody's listening right now and they're like, yeah, man, I do deal with depression. There's real things available to you that isn't in a pill form, that isn't just a blocker. And that's what I love about what you're doing, man. This is natural. You're literally giving people lasting relief and lasting, really giving them a transformation that there's not a pill that can provide that. If people wanted to find you, Dom, they wanted to do what I know you're not taking one-on-one clients, but they want to go to a live event. Where's the best place to connect with you online?
Yeah, if you just go to Instagram, dom.the.hypnotist, and I might potentially open it back up to take on one-on-one clients. I do kind of miss it because I'm like, I still have some clients from like previous signups and everything, but yeah, man, it's just go on dom.the.hypnotist and find me on there. Shoot me a message. There's links you could book consultation, and I promote the live events on there and everything. One thing I was going to say about what you just mentioned with the whole like depression and all that, it's actually illegal to like promote that you can help people get rid of their pain and depression. So I don't ever promote it like, hey, I'm going to, you can't market it, right? So you can do it. You just can't market it. Like I can't make commercials around it. So what do you think that tells you? I mean, I don't know where you're at,
brother.
Huh?
You're taking money out of their pocket.
There you go. So usually when I see things, over the past couple of years, most people have kind of like seen like, okay, this is all like a facade. A lot of the stuff with like, whatever. But usually when you see stuff like that, that should make you curious and go, wait, why would it be illegal to heal? That doesn't make sense. That's usually the stuff that you got to look into. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, brother, you and I could have to do a whole nother show on this subject alone.
Right.
But yeah, you're taking money out of their pocket, and it's not a pill, and they can't monetize that. Big Pharma does not like what Dom's doing, so we're clear.
Yeah.
Brother, thank you for coming on, educating
Thanks
us.
for having me.
Yeah, brother, you could tell stories for days. I didn't even ask you. I wanted to ask your favorite story. I had so many questions, but I just think you bringing this to light, like, look, there's some real solutions that aren't with your doctor, that, be open to it. And hypnosis is one that I'm excited to discover. So thank you, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Guys, he literally gave you an opportunity. Go check it out. A free sleep hypnosis. I'm going to go do it. I love this stuff. And I am 100% a believer. There are things he talked about, the DNA literally coming down from your parents, previous generations, that it's not your fault. Look, it's subconscious. It's not something that you want to hang on to, but it's in there. Go check this out. Relieve yourself of some of these ailments. He can't say that he's going to do it or market it. I will say it 100% will help you. So go check Dom out and make sure to share this with someone, even if you're just interested in hypnosis. Like, this is a cool guy that's normal, humble, and he's helping people. And the story of him getting started after 2 weeks is freaking remarkable. I love it. All right, you guys, till next time, remember, your mindset matters. I appreciate you all so much. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much for listening. If this content is delivering value to you, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us. That helps us build this community, and that is what we are all about. Building this community as big as we can, helping as many people as we can, and deliver as much value as possible. Be sure to head over to letsgowinpodcast.com for information on my coaching courses, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Let's Go Win 365. Let's go win and transcend in life.
This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, JM Ryerson.